They do almost everything couples do. He knows how she takes her coffee. She knows when he's had a bad day. They text most mornings, they spend weekends together, they fall asleep on the same side of the bed.
In private, it feels like a relationship. There's affection, routine, a quiet kind of closeness.
And then one night, she asks, "Where is this going?" Not angrily, not as an ultimatum, just carefully.
And he smiles, maybe reaches for her hand, then says, "Why can't we just enjoy it?"
Why do we have to label everything? Let's not put pressure on it. And suddenly, a reasonable question feels like too much.
Welcome back to the Alchemy pair. Tonight, we're talking about when going with the flow is genuinely slow dating and when it starts becoming emotional avoidance.
Because moving slowly is not the problem. Slow is a pace. Confusing is a pattern.
Not every undefined relationship is unhealthy. Not everyone knows what they want immediately. And not every good connection needs an instant label.
Sometimes two people are genuinely learning each other. They're moving carefully. They don't want to promise something before they understand it. That can be honest.
A connection can move slowly and still have consistency. Mutual effort, emotional honesty. Enough information for both people to understand what they're participating in.
Like someone saying, "I'm not ready to call this a relationship yet, but I do want to keep exploring it with you." That answer is uncertain, but it's still responsive.
Exactly. Honest uncertainty gives the other person something real to work with. Avoidance repeatedly dismisses, delays, or punishes the need for clarity.
The answer may be uncertain. The response does not have to be careless. "Let's go back to the room," she asked. "Where is this going?" And now she can feel the warmth pull back.
Maybe he says, "I thought we were having a good time," as if the question itself damaged something.
So she makes herself smaller. "I'm not asking for anything serious. I was just curious. Forget I asked. It's fine."
That's what fear of being judged can look like. Someone makes a reasonable need sound harmless because they're afraid of seeming needy or demanding.
Sometimes "I'm fine with keeping it casual" is honest, but sometimes it's the price someone pays to avoid being rejected.
Outwardly, they agree. Internally, they're more uncertain than before. This is where no pressure can become one-sided. Sometimes it really means, let's allow this to develop naturally.
But sometimes it only appears when one person asks a real question. There was no concern about pressure when they were spending 4 nights a week together, or sharing personal fears, or providing comfort, sex, attention, and companionship.
Then clarity is requested, and suddenly the connection is being rushed.
That doesn't automatically mean manipulation. The person avoiding clarity may genuinely feel uncertain. They may fear obligation. They may worry about losing autonomy, or they may enjoy the current arrangement and never examine what it costs the other person.
But the explanation doesn't erase the impact. One person may receive many of the benefits of intimacy. The other may carry most of the uncertainty.
Not every undefined relationship is manipulative, but every undefined relationship still has consequences. And uncertainty changes behavior. She starts watching for clues. He called twice this week. Does that mean something? He didn't invite her to the party. Does that mean something?
Research on relational uncertainty suggests people may become more sensitive to small shifts and ambiguous signals when they do not understand the relationship.
And that monitoring is exhausting. Can she ask why he disappeared? Can she feel hurt if he dates someone else? Can she make future plans? Is she a partner in private and a stranger in public?
The problem is not simply the missing label, it's the missing shared reality. From the other side, clarity can feel threatening. For one person, what are we means, help me understand this. For the other, it may sound like, now you're responsible for my feelings.
Or, you're losing your freedom. You have to promise a future. You're going to disappoint me.
This can sometimes reflect a protective response to closeness. It is not the only explanation, and it is not a diagnosis. Some people manage emotional pressure by delaying decisions or keeping language vague.
And maybe they really don't know. That's allowed. They're allowed to say they cannot offer commitment.
But the other person is also allowed to know that. Clarity is not forcing someone to choose you. It is giving both people enough truth to choose for themselves.
There's a small message moment after that conversation. She gets home, types, "I'm sorry if I made things weird," then stops. Because what is she apologizing for?
For asking what the relationship means.
Exactly. So she deletes it, types, "Had a nice night," then adds a heart, warm enough to keep the connection alive, but not honest enough to reopen the question.
That's how ambiguity preserves itself. One person avoids answering, the other avoids asking again.
And time passes, the relationship becomes more intimate, but not more understandable.
Perceived partner responsiveness gives us a useful distinction. Intimacy is not only about how much two people share, it's also about whether each person feels understood, respected, and cared for when something important is expressed.
So someone can say, "I'm not ready for exclusivity." That may hurt, but it can still be respectful.
They might add, I understand if that doesn't work for you. That answer gives the other person a real choice.
Avoidance feels different. It makes the question itself the problem. Why are you overthinking? Why can't you relax? You're ruining a good thing.
The first answer contains uncertainty. The second contains dismissal.
You don't need a perfect answer, but you do need enough respect to ask the question without being punished for it. I think the turning point is when she realizes she has been trying to look easy instead of being honest. She keeps saying, "I'm fine," but she isn't. Maybe she doesn't need a label tomorrow. She just needs enough truth to know whether she should keep investing.
And the question becomes less, how do I make this person define the relationship? And more, what is this arrangement actually doing to me?
Am I genuinely comfortable moving slowly, or am I pretending to need less because I'm afraid they'll leave?
That does not require an ultimatum, it requires accuracy. A person can genuinely care about you and still be unable or unwilling to offer the relationship you need.
So we return to the opening couple. No grand speech, she simply says. "I'm not asking you to promise something you don't feel,
But I do need to understand what you can offer.
and I need to be honest about whether that works for me."
That is clarity. Enough truth for both people to make an informed choice.
Maybe the answer is still uncertain, but now the connection is not surviving on one person pretending.
Slow is a pace, confusing is a pattern.
And going with the flow only works when both people understand what the flow actually is.
We're taking a short break next week.
But we'll be back the following week.
Until then, you can catch up on the other podcasts here on the channel.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.